Welcome to Entrepreneurs and Leaders, and today we have a special guest, Christian Espinosa. So Christian is a tech entrepreneur, and today we have one question for you that we're going to start the broadcast. What are the 5 steps to get a tech product market fit?
Welcome to Entrepreneurs Are Leaders podcast with Harry Sardinas. Interviews with world's most influential entrepreneurs that share tips about how to grow your business exponentially. Charismatic speaking, leadership, branding, marketing strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.
Yeah, so my company, we do medical device cybersecurity. So we are a tech company. I think what's helped me, step number 1, is niching down within your market. So my overall market is healthcare, but that's still too big of a market. So I've niched it down or focused on medical devices, which is really a subset of healthcare, which makes it much easier to sell to those prospects and get those clients, because I'm very specific when I'm messaging. And then once you have niched down, I would say step 2 is to really understand if that market is a good market for you. So what the size of the market is, the number of companies in the market, what your competition is, what price points your clients are willing to pay, and what the problem is that you solve for that specific market. And then once you've done that, if it's still a good fit, the third step is to figure out the specific buyer in the market. So at a company that's one of your prospects, who are you likely to interact with? Is that my industry is a regulatory affairs person, or it could be a CTO, it could be the CEO, it could be the IT manager. All these people see the procurement process very differently. So once you understand who you typically deal with, the specific buyer, the specific person, the specific job title, it makes it easier to clarify your message. And the fourth thing I would say, which helps clarify that message, is it's called Brandscript. It's by Donald Miller. It helps you understand that your job in serving your client is to be a guide and not the hero of the story. The client should be positioned as the hero, and you're to guide them across the chasm or guide them to solving their problem. That's your job. And then the 5th step, once you've got all these other 4 dialed in, the 5th step should be a lot easier. And that is building brand awareness through marketing. It could be advertising, but if you haven't done the first 4, you're not going to be able to do effective marketing. But once I know what problem I solve, my specific market, and the person I'm going to be interacting with on the sales cycle, then I can market very specific to them and to that industry. Those are my top 5.
Thank you so much, Christian. And then the thing is that tell us about the process, how you learn this, how you arrived to this conclusion, building your own company.
A lot of trial and error. With my first cybersecurity business, we tried to sell cybersecurity to everybody. I thought everybody needs cybersecurity. I'm going to sell to everybody. So I didn't have a very good message. I didn't know who to market to. It was very watered down. So it wasn't really resonating with anybody. So I didn't have very good sales. Now that I've niched down, I tried to learn from that first company. Now that I've niched down, I know exactly who I'm marketing. I know exactly when I run a Google ad, what keywords I should be targeting, what the person is typing in. It makes it much easier. And we're viewed as a specialist versus a generalist. Like if you want to get your car fixed, you have a Honda, you probably want to go to a Honda dealer versus a general car specialist. Or if you want to have open heart surgery, you're going to go to a heart surgeon versus a general doctor, right? So people want to work with a specialist. So once you do niche down, it helps with that. And it's a little bit scary at first because you think you might be turning down work, but it actually is the opposite. By niching down, you actually get more business.
Then Christian, now finding the first client is always a challenge because you see you're first in the market, nobody knows you. So how you find these very first clients, and how is the process? And what advice do you have for the tech entrepreneurs out there that they are in this journey, which is really, really difficult because people will buy from you and they don't have any reference. They don't know if you actually can deliver the service, and you asking them money for it. So how you become the challenges of finding the first client?
I'm a big proponent of inbound leads. Outbound will certainly work, but everybody's doing outbound. If somebody wants to search for your service or your product, they'll typically type it into Google. So I focus a lot of attention and effort on search engine optimization for our website. So somebody types in medical device cybersecurity, we're like number 2 or number 1. Somebody types in anything related to medical devices and security, we're at the top page. And that will get a lead to me. And then the next step, though, is once I do have that lead, what do I do with it? So I'm very keen on once somebody fills out a form that we call them immediately, because it's often the first person that talks to a prospect, the first company, will win the deal because everybody else is playing catch up. So we will call immediately. Like as soon as the lead comes in, we call them. And then we get them on a discovery call and start talking about our value proposition while we're listening to them. We don't just show them a pitch deck of what we do and how great we are. We listen to them and then kind of sprinkle in the conversation where it makes sense, what makes us different, and how we can help them. One of the things that a lot of our prospects really want is this degree of certainty. They want to know for sure that they're making the right decision by choosing my company to help solve their problem. So I keep that in mind when I'm talking with them and understand that this may be a big deal for them to spend, $100,000 on our service. And if they make the wrong decision, it's not going to look good for them. So I try to, as we're conversing with them, make sure they are comfortable and make sure that they understand that we're going to provide a great experience and make them look good.
And then, Christian, let's talk about scaling up, because we can find the first client, right? But completely different story is scaling up a tech business, and what challenges do you face scaling up, and how you overcome these challenges?
There's a couple challenges. I think the main one is not having systems in place. If you try to scale without having systems in place, it becomes very chaotic and you'll drop the ball and forget about things. So for me, it's important to have a system. So on the sales side, for instance, we use HubSpot, and we have various phases where a prospect is in. So we know exactly where everybody is, and we have a dashboard that we can view everybody. And my team, it's not just good enough to have the system. You have to train your team on how to use that system, and you have to enforce the system. Because what I've noticed, if I don't pay attention to the system, people will get sloppy and not fill out the form properly, not log something in HubSpot, not move it to the right place. So we have to you have to enforce it and constantly remind people and show the reason we have it. And then that's really the main thing, the system, and then training the people on the system, but also obviously finding the right people for the right seats. Sales is a very different skill set than marketing or than delivery. So it's important that I have the right people on a sales call. The initial sales call will make or break the deal. So I have a salesperson and a sales engineer, so I can cover all the sales aspects and all the technical aspects as well, because I found it's almost impossible to have one person that can do both.
Yeah. And then Christian, regarding your story, what is your background? Do you have a background in tech? Are you a software engineer? Or how you end up in the cybersecurity business?
I went to the Air Force Academy to fly jets like Tom Cruise and Top Gun, even though that was Navy. But I didn't get a pilot slot. They cut all the pilot slots. And my major was communications. So I ended up doing communications in the military, which was, for me, protecting classified networks from attackers, keeping secret networks secret. So I leveraged that experience when I got out of the military and started focusing my career on hacking and penetration testing, which is ethical hacking, and jobs focused on cybersecurity. A lot of my career has been hacking into military aircraft and commercial aircraft to make sure a passenger can't break into the commercial aircraft or the in-flight entertainment system or something while it's flying.
Wow, um, this
Yeah,
is
you stick your USB thumb drive into the in-flight entertainment system and upload something and take over the cockpit, right? So one of my jobs was to make sure that was secure.
Wow, it sounds very difficult, right? Uh, so, but then building your own company, because you see that when you working for the military, right, especially with this skill set you have, um, I bet that you were very comfortable there, in terms, they pay you good money, and the military have an amazing benefits and so on. So why you decide to live your comfortable life to start the uncomfortable entrepreneurial life, which is become a CEO, a captain of your own boat, which is completely different ball game, because in your job you have to be very good on one specific thing. Whether you become an entrepreneur is completely different ball game. You have to learn about too many things like sales, marketing, market fit, developing a product. So the whole thing becomes a nightmare all of a sudden. That now you are involved. Now you need to learn things that you like, and you need to learn things that you don't like. And you have to do things you like. You have to do things that you don't like, because until you don't have income and resources, you have to wear all the hats. And this is how entrepreneurs. So what make you make this shift from comfortable to uncomfortable, and how was this process, and what are the pros and cons?
Yeah, the process for me, it was a little bit gradual. I wish I would have done it sooner. I got out of the military. I didn't like being told what to. I didn't.
You want to do it sooner? You want to get uncomfortable sooner?
Yes,
Wow.
I had a very chaotic childhood, so I think I sought comfort and stability and security. And it took me a while to unravel that, because I don't really like those things. But I didn't have it growing up, so I overly compensated for it, like by joining the military, by becoming a defense contractor for a while, which is kind of like the military, except you don't wear a uniform, by working in a commercial company 9 to 5. And then when I was working in one of these commercial companies, I had a run-in with the CEO. It was causing a lot of stress for me. And I just said, you know what, screw it. I'm going to quit, and I'll figure it out. I didn't have another job lined up. It's the first time I ever quit without having another job to go to. So I said, I'm going to become a solopreneur, a freelancer, and I'll make it work. I'm going to leverage my network, leverage different websites, and find work and make it happen. And that's what I did. I did that for about 5 years, traveling the world, making really good money, taking like 3 months off every year. And then I got kind of bored with it. I thought, man, I'm kind of stagnant. I'm not growing. So, and I want to contribute more to society. I want to grow. So I thought, what other way to grow besides form my own company and hire people and try to scale it? That's going to force me to grow and contribute to society and be able to empower and mentor other people on my team. And that's what I ended up doing. And then I sold that first company and to a publicly traded company, and made a bunch of mistakes during that process. And now I'm working in this company.
And now you are doing in the second run, which is it's always better. You see, sometimes when we talk with VCs and angel investors, when tech entrepreneurs raising funds, sometimes the VCs and the angels, they say, okay, call me your next idea. Yeah. What it means, I think they love these type of founders, what they are coming in the second iteration, because
because it's less risk for them. I talked to a lot of VCs at this conference, and they're like, oh, so you're a real entrepreneur, is what they would say once they knew I had built and sold one business and I was working on a second one. It's almost like like you said, they didn't count it if you're working on your first business, because you're like an unknown entity. It's too risky for them.
Yeah. Almost important. Very difficult for them to part with the capital, because they. I think that, but sometimes, I mean, they're right in a point. You see, it's sometimes difficult for people doing in business become an entrepreneur. One thing is you have a product and sell it, yeah, make a little bit of money. The other thing completely is become a 360 entrepreneur, to have the mindset, to have the skills where you need to pay attention how this dynamic actually works, so you can produce a return for the investment for the investor. Because sometimes you see you can have a very good lifestyle business, yeah, and when you were working with these contractors, you're traveling for 3 months and you're making a lot of fun, yeah. But then completely different is if you have a company where a lot of people depend on of the company's salaries and so on, and become more complex if you bring investors to the organization. So they need to know if you have the skills to produce a return for them. And a good test of that is having exit before. This is a very good
Yeah,
sound
because I mean,
to
most
the ears.
businesses fail, right? I think most businesses fail. I forgot the percentage. I think it's like
Oh my God!
80%.
In tech is worse.
It's worse than tech.
Yeah. Tech is like, when it works, people make a lot of money, but again, because of the nature of developing, because tech is expensive, and if you make a mistake, you're doing something wrong, that the startup, small companies startup, they sometimes they cannot get back in. Is too hard for them. So then, Christian, the other question I want to ask you is about: do you think that some skill from the military that you learn can be applied in your life as an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I think there's a couple skills from the military. I think one of them is perseverance. I went through basic training, and I went to the Air Force Academy. So the first year, my whole freshman year is like basic training. So you have to learn to put up with a lot and persevere and think that things will get better. So there's that. There's also the leadership aspect in the military. I was an officer, so I had to lead a lot of people. And in the military, you're taught more of a servant leadership type of mindset where you need to do whatever you can do to make sure your team is capable and empowered and ready to fight or go to battle or complete the mission. So I think those are a couple main things I learned. And I would say one other thing I learned is communication, because I did do some flying in the military, and there's always a positive handoff. I noticed in the commercial world, communication is sometimes lacking. Things are left vague. In the military, for instance, if you're flying with an instructor and he wants you to take over the plane, he'll say your plane, and you shake the stick so he knows that you've got control, and then you say my plane. So there's no ambiguity, because somewhere in the past there was ambiguity. Nobody was flying the plane and it crashed, right? So now we have positive transfer. And I think for me in my company, I like it if I give somebody a task or ask somebody something, that they repeat back to me that they understand what they're doing. If I don't get anything back, I feel very uncomfortable, because I'm like, did they understand what I asked them? Are they going to do it? What's going on?
Yeah. So, but then, Christian, in the military, we have something that you sometimes an order is an order, and you have to take it whether you like it or not, because this is just do it, yeah. But when you are in a company, sometimes when you're in a company as a CEO, we cannot behave this way, because otherwise, if we go to our team and said, okay, you should do this and you should listen to me, and that's it. There is no argument. Then this could be challenges. However, if you are in your company and there is a fire, you need to tell to everybody, get out. And this is something that is out of discussion.
Say, what
and
should we do here, right?
Your team need to understand that sometimes you as a CEO, you have some time to make an order, and let's call it this way, and people need to just follow with no discussion. Yeah. However, there is the other side, which is the leadership and building the culture of the organization, and and developing leaders within the organization. So how, which I heard because I interviewed more people from the military, and they said that, you see, that's just, people think that the military, everything that goes around is like, hey, you have to do this, the other, you do it, no question asked. But it's not like that. They actually do a lot of leadership training, more actually than in corporate America, and they train very good leaders. I think that, the leadership that is showing up in your company, one of the reasons that it's growing twice already, because you have one exit already, is just because the leadership skills that you inherited from the military, they clearly train you well to become a great leader and to enhance and promote leadership within the culture of your company, right? So how truly is the difference when you're training your leaders for the organization, or your mode of leadership when it comes to running your company? There are sometimes that is like you have to do what I say, no discussions around, because I'm the CEO, this is my business, and it's me who paid the bills and it doesn't work. Or it's more like an open discussions in key elements of the company in order to achieve the best result and, allow everybody to participate.
It's more of an open discussion. I don't always have the best ideas. I'm not always closest to a scenario. So I ask my team what they think. And I try to, facilitate an environment where people are free to speak their mind. And people will tell me what they think. At the end of the day, it's my decision. And people understand that. But often I didn't think of a specific angle or specific option, and somebody will bring it to the table, and I'll go with that route versus what I initially wanted to do. And I'm very reticent or hesitant about letting my opinion out about what I think we should do, because I don't want to influence my team. I want them to let me know what they think we should do first, and then I'll make a decision. If it's something that
do you learn this from the military, Christian, or this is a way that you evolve as a leader?
I think this is the way I've evolved. In the military, is like you said, we spend a lot of time in leadership training in the military. You like to get promoted from one rank to another one, you have to take certain training. In the civilian world, to get promoted from one thing to another one day someone says, "Oh, you're an engineer." Next day, "Oh, you're a manager." There's no training involved, and they wonder why we have so many problems.
Just because they're good in the job, they promoting them, but there is no leadership training for that person, right? That's what happened in the civilian, yeah.
Right. So I try to train my team in leadership, but I also try to train by asking them the questions, because I can quickly figure out who's thinking ahead, who's thinking of the big picture. When I set up an environment and ask my team, like, what do you think we should do here? That gives me an idea, a forum to kind of assess who on my team can be the next leader and what they'd be good at as well. And I also have to empower people.
And that doesn't depend, Christian, how good they execute the role. Sometimes, they can be excellent executing the role, but they don't have leadership skills.
Yeah,
they are good doing the job. They're good doing the job, but it's going to be challenging to put them as manager or lead the team, right?
Right, and not everybody wants to lead people. You have to understand that too. I mean, I've had technical people work for me that never wanted to have anybody work for them. Wow. They're okay, like kind of leading a project, but not supervising the people on the project.
Wow. Yeah. Different people, different mindsets, and as we have to handle it, to deal with it, So the other thing, Christian, is as a tech entrepreneur, how do you think that that AI is having an influence in cybersecurity space? Do you think that because of the current evolution of AI, you guys need to put some more procedures in place and close more gaps regarding the service that you provide? Because now this new technology, I mean, it's not new being out there, but now it's more popular, have access to everyone. Everybody's thinking how to leverage this. Do you think that this evolution make you guys to to think different and to think how you can improve the product or protect the product. So with the use of AI, people cannot access it.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. Like if you're not using AI in business now, I think you're going to be left behind. You should be using AI to leverage, content creation, your sales enrichment cycle, whatever method. But you should be using AI today because other businesses are using it, and if you're not, you're going to be left behind. The other aspect from a cybersecurity perspective is it's really becoming kind of a battle of AI versus AI. We've got AI firewalls that protect, malicious traffic and attacks. But then we also have on the other side, the cyber criminals are using AI to bypass our firewall that is AI enabled. And it's kind of interesting. It's an AI versus AI battle. And I've done a lot of work with AI. I know I've created content with AI, and I've had, the algorithm by prompts write it like a human. And then I use another AI detector to see if it could tell if the content was written by an AI. So I figured out a way to bypass the AI detector by asking, the AI that wrote the content to use perplexity and burstiness and avoid AI detection and, write like a human. And then I ran the AI detector and it wouldn't detect it. So again, it's who can program the AI better, the defenders or the attackers, is really where we're headed, I think.
Yeah. So, Christian, if somebody want to know, tell us a little bit more about your company, about your product, and if somebody is interested to know more about you and to ask you some questions, how they can find you, how this process works.
Yeah, my company is Blue Goat Cyber. We do medical device cybersecurity. So we help anybody that produces a medical device or manufactures one, get it to market and make sure it's secure. This could be a drug infusion pump, a pacemaker, a surgical robot, in vitro diagnostic system, any type of medical device.
Why this is important?
It's important because imagine a surgical robot is working on your spine and somebody hacks into it, they could paralyze you. Imagine there was an attack, legitimate attack with defibrillators, where if you have an implantable defibrillator that is responsible for shocking your heart, if you have a heart attack, somebody could remotely, wirelessly connect to that thing and shock you to death. So, we don't think about all this stuff, but it's a big deal. If you have an in vitro diagnostic system,
that there is one ex-president of the United States that people were trying to get into the system where they conduct an operation, right? Something like this.
Yeah, there was a threat against Dick Cheney. He had the wireless capability disabled on his defibrillator, so nobody could remotely or wirelessly attack him.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a legitimate threat. There was also a Homeland episode about that, and it's based on reality.
My dad get operated by a robot, in Miami, and he was very concerned. So
Yeah.
he was saying, I mean, it's a big progress because it was a very complex operation, to remove some cancer, and it's done by a robot with open some holes and then it conduct the operation, right?
Was there a surgeon there as well? Or was it just the robot?
I was mainly the robot. I think that the surgeon was only overlooking. It was actually the piece conducting the operation. It's a very high-end technology. There's no all over US. It's just in Miami, in US, in Miami, or only in developing cities. You find this technology. They described to me that in other part of the United States, if they need to do this operation, and they won't be done with the robot. They actually need to cut almost half and conduct the operation. However, my dad was really concerned about all these things that you're describing. What happened if this robot stop? What's going to happen to me? Is really safe? He was asking the doctors, is it going to be a power cut? How the thing's going to react? Crazy things like this, because at the end of the day, right, they're very precise, but they also can malfunction, right?
Yeah, that those are legitimate concerns. And we're just now, as of last year, the FDA in the United States and other agencies are starting to consider cybersecurity and take it seriously.
to make it mandatory, yeah?
Yeah, because
For
there's a
all
lot of
the
devices
medical
out there.
devices, yeah?
There's a lot of legacy devices that are not very secure.
Yeah. So how we close the gap? How we close this gap between legacy and new technologies? Because Christian, let's face it, you see, there is a lot of legacy, especially in the in not only in the medical equipment, but in general in the whole industry, where we have all equipment, and now we have cloud computing. Now we have next level cybersecurity. Now we have I don't know. We have a lot of computer power. We have a lot of things that didn't exist before, where lots of medical devices were created, and now we are dealing with the legacy of all this equipment that is old, that is not up to date, that is they are not cloud based, so they cannot store the data in a cloud. And but then we have the people, the legacy of the people. People don't want to change. People don't want to change. The hospital director don't want to change,
Of course.
because you need to deal with the equipment and with the people. So how you close this gap, Christian, with legacy that we have, let's call in the medical sector, which is only one of the of a sector that it have everything is with computer the like a couple of months. My mom went to hospital in Spain, and she was in the unit of intensive care, and I arrived there, and this place looked like the NASA. You see, it was TVs and TVs and TVs and TVs. I'm seeing this and I said, Mom, what is this? You see, they literally monitoring everything. And the people in the hospital, the people looking after her, they told me, look, there are a lot of devices connected to your mom at the moment. If they make a noise, don't worry about it. These devices are very sensitive, so they will make a noise. That doesn't mean that she's gonna die or anything like this. And they told me, don't worry, we have a center, the same all the screens that my mom has. They have like in the middle of this intensive unit care, like a point where they can see everything from everybody there. Was not too many people. So I was impressed about the amount of equipment that was displayed there. Obviously, everything running by computers, a lot of displays to measure everything. Very sensitive, right? But again, despite that they look very modern and things like this, I know that this kind of equipment, they don't have the most updated cybersecurity protection, and definitely all this data. I don't think that will be stored in the cloud, and so there is legacy. And again, all these people know how to use this software, knows how to use these devices, and now you go there to those devices need to cope with the technology that we have today. So how, and then again, Christian, we also have a second problem, which is high technology equipment mixed with old technology equipment. That also, and so now they cannot even talk among themselves because they have different technology or software behind, and how, and again, you have the people, you have the legacy, you have the institution, then you have the compliance as well. That probably is a big race for a health minister to say, you know what, we have to reset and we have to commit to the new needs for the market, and we need to keep safe our people. And cybersecurity, we do need to take it seriously because we don't know. You've been in the military. We don't know when the next attack is gonna come, and if those equipments are easy to hack, easy to enter because they're just old, then there is a weak spot. I think that the biggest nightmare in this planet right now to all the multimillionaires, billionaires, tech entrepreneurs, the only thing that keeping them awake at night is a cybersecurity attack. Yeah. If you speak, You speak with all these billionaires, Google, Mark Zuckerberg, you ask them what keeping you up at night, they will say cybersecurity is the biggest nightmare for all of them. So there is something that need to be there. So how we close the gap, Christian, of legacy?
Yeah, that's you described the problem pretty well. On average, there's 14 devices connected to a hospital bed, and a lot of those devices are legacy. The only way to close the gap is to mandate those legacy devices have to be tested for cybersecurity, and if they don't pass, they have to be fixed. If they can't be fixed, they have to be phased out. That is the only way to close the gap. Because if it's not mandated, just like you alluded to, the hospital administrator is not going to want to retrain all their staff on how to use a new device. They're like, we'll just accept the risk. So it has to be mandated. And unfortunately, in the U.S., where the FDA is starting to mandate that legacy devices are tested.
Yeah. So this is up to the institution, Christian, right? Because it has to come from a government policy, correct?
Yeah, it comes from the government.
Do you think federal or from?
It's federal, yeah.
Yeah. So why do you think that they are not doing it? Are they waiting for an accident to happen? Are they waiting for the
mandate's relatively new, right? So I think that people are starting to do it now, look at their legacy devices. But from my experience with cybersecurity, unless something is required or mandated, nobody cares. And some people don't care anyway. They'll just, they'll just take on the risk, right? So it's just now becoming something that those devices, like your mother was hooked up to, and other devices are having to be looked at. All the legacy devices.
Yeah, I saw in first in front of me, like, wow, you see, this is so much equipment here and so much tech going on, and but again, a lot needs to be done. Regardless, that looks very impressive. There is a lot of legacy. A lot
of legacy that's very vulnerable. There's this assumption that
I can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin was in the hospital not too long ago, and I saw all those devices, and one of them has an Ethernet port I could have plugged into. One of them has I could have put a thumb drive in it. I could have probably hacked in those devices, but they're making the assumption that anyone that's in that room is going to do the right thing and not try to hack the device, right?
Yeah, but then, like I said, the thing also is that you can go to one of these devices, and because they're connected to internet, they can infect the rest, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's the biggest problem is that the devices are becoming more and more interconnected. They used to be standalone, but now they connect via Bluetooth to a mobile application, which connects to the cloud, which just provides multiple pathways into that device.
Exactly. So, okay, Christian, so how people can learn more about this and how can they find you?
Yeah, they can go to my company website, bluegoatcyber.com. They can find me on pretty much all social media. I'm not on TikTok, but I'm on everything else pretty much. Or they could go on Amazon. I have a couple of books on Amazon and on Audible as well.
Thank you so much, Christian. And with that note, see you guys in our next episode of Entrepreneurs Are Leaders, how brave entrepreneurs like Christian create businesses to make the world a better place. Bye for now.
Follow us for more on charismatic speaking, leadership, exponential business growth, branding, marketing, strategies designed to help you monetize your knowledge, find true happiness, and manifest your goals and dreams.